everyone. So I did remember another thing that was a common mistake. I don't know why I didn't write it because the majority of you did it. But instead of talking about it in class, I'm just going to make another video about it. Right? So a lot of you, just an example, like I have u squared is equal to -9. I just did -9 to just go over a review as well. But a lot of you, what you did is you took the square root to both sides, right? And then you said u is equal to, let's say, 3i. Because remember, so 3i quantity squared, that is 3 squared times I squared, that is 9 times -1, which is -9. Right? So 3i quantity squared is what gives us -9. So this is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because every time you take the square root of something, you have to put plus or minus. Right? Because not only does 3i squared work, if I did -3i quantity squared, then I'll get -3 squared times I squared, and again that would give me -9. Okay, also with u squared, if you did this, then the square root of u squared, two things can give us u squared. U times u can give us u squared, but also -u times -u is equal to u squared. The reason why, let me just rewrite it. So when I have u squared is equal to -9, okay, I can take the square root, but I'm not taking the square root of both sides. I'm using that square root property that we learned. How, remember, it is like x squared is equal to a squared. So then I can say x is equal to plus or minus the square root of a squared. Kind of like that, right? Or maybe they just did a. Okay. But this is the square root property. This comes from factoring. So if I did this, so u squared plus 9 is equal to 0, I can factor this as u minus 3i, u plus 3i. Okay, if I checked our work, so this is u squared, this is a difference of squares. Okay, so then it's u squared, so then the middle terms would cancel, and then I would get -3i times 3i. Okay, that is -9i squared, but that is 9. Right, so that is why. So it comes from the square root property, okay, and then I can apply the zero product property. But I think I derived this in class, but as we saw, this is we don't always have to do this. If we have something like this, I can just use that square root property, and I can just say, okay, u is equal to plus or minus the square root of -9, which then we'll get plus or minus 3i. Okay, I know in the video I said, I mentioned something about this. This is okay. Why is this okay? Because I'm solving for u. Okay, I didn't divide anything. So this plus or minus 3i is the same, is equal to plus or minus the square root of -9. Okay, so keep in mind, do not take the square root of both sides. If you do, you have to put plus or minus. Okay, so then we'll get plus or minus u is equal to plus or minus 3i. Okay, but we don't want that. We just want the principal root. We just want when u is positive, assuming that u is positive. Already positive. Okay, so that's that. Also, we had this problem. It was something quantity squared plus b times that something plus c. My intention for that was you're supposed to say like x, or x is equal to this something, assuming that this something was not in variable x. Right? But a lot of you, what you did is that you FOILed it out, and then you distribute this, and then you said, okay, actually you didn't even, some of you substituted and said like, okay, x is equal to u squared or something like that. Okay, that's fine. You could have made it more simple by substituting it right away. All right, however, some of you didn't substitute at all, so you got points taken off because the instructions clearly said use an appropriate substitution and then solve. Okay, but the biggest thing I want to talk about here, so say that we didn't substitute, and then we got something like u to the fourth minus 2u squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Right, and then you factor that to be u squared minus 1 times the quantity u squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Or, sorry. So, okay, I'll just finish it. So it's u minus 1 is equal to 0, or u squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so then you'll still use that square root property. Okay, so then you'll get u is equal to plus or minus 1, or u is equal to plus or minus I. Right, but this is, I made a mistake, to be honest. Did not want that. Let's pretend that there's no middle term. So let's say I get u squared minus 1 is equal to 0. U to the fourth. Okay, then you guys, what you did is you said u to the fourth is equal to 1, and then you took the fourth root to both sides. Okay, and then so you said u is equal to, some of you just said 1. Okay, some of you said plus or minus 1. Okay, again, this is wrong. So why? Because first of all, you need to put a plus or minus no matter what. And then for the fourth root of this, you're also missing some of the imaginary numbers. Okay, so we can't apply this. Okay, so when you see u to the fourth minus 1 is equal to 0, okay, what you're going to do is you have to factor this. Okay, so again, this is a difference of squares. This is u squared minus 1, u squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, and I already solved that for you. As you can see, you'll get u is equal to plus or minus 1, or u is equal to plus or minus I. Okay, so those of you who did this, okay, you're partially right. You still have that plus or minus 1. Okay, but when you take u to the fourth is equal to 1, you can also get plus or minus I. So just taking I, for example, okay, if I find I to the fourth, that's I times I times I times I. Okay, I can say, so we know I times I is negative 1. So I'm just going to group these. So I have negative 1 times negative 1, which gives me positive 1. Okay, so you're missing the imaginary numbers when you're doing that. So you can only apply that square root property if your power has a 2.